Indie Case Files is a production of Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkgeekstudios.com. To help support Indie Case Files and Inked Geek Studios, go to patreon.com/igstudios. As little as $1 a month can help this show and other great content. Thank you very much. Even in the corporate world of AAA video game development, some developers wish to keep the love and passion for gaming alive. What follows is a sea of games designed and published by small studio developers. Some bad, some good. We'll help you decide. This is Indie Case Files, and these are their games.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Indie Case Files. This is episode 4, and I am your host, Amy Frost. I am joined, as always, by my very good friend and co-host, Nate Ward. Nate, how are you?
Amy, I am good. How are you? Is it 4?
Super. 4.
Is it 4?
It's 4.
You sure it's not 3?
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
Are you sure?
I don't know. It's your show.
Well, I mean, technically,
I am nearly
but
positive.
to be fair, I mean, I forget what number we're on when it. Oh, it is. You're right.
Wow. It's almost like I know what I'm doing.
How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. You know, it was a frustrating week of indie gaming, or 2 weeks, or whatever the hell it is.
Yes, it was. This game, I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's I love it, but it makes me hate myself. I have never felt so bad at gaming playing this game.
I think it's good for you. I think it's humbling.
Yeah, no, now to be fair, well, first I guess we should say, so we played Cuphead. Published and developed by StudioMDHR Entertainment. It came out September 29th. Now, I had never heard of this, but you had been following this game for a while.
Yeah, like, I want to say years. The big thing about it is that it's all like old school 1930s style animation, and that was what got me. Like, I was in. Then they were like, run and gun. And I was like, sure, that seems like a thing I can do.
Now,
I'm bad at a lot of stuff, but that I can do that.
Now, I have some contention that it was advertised that way, because there are 4 worlds, and within the 4 worlds, there are 4 levels that are run and gun, and the rest of them are just like insanely difficult boss fights. Which I like, but I like the run and gun aspect, especially once you start combining like the parries and stuff like that, when you're just kind of flowing through the level.
Yeah.
And that's an element that you lose in the boss fights.
Agreed.
So I think that, I mean, even if there were 2 per world, I think that would have been a little bit better, just because that run and gun element, that like, what do they call it? The Metroidvania?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would have added more to the game, because you kind of like, especially with the boss fights, like there are ones like, even in the first world, like that first airplane one, that one's a bitch. And I was stuck on that one for a while. So like if I had other running guns to play, then yes. So in the chat room, beat, yeah. So the Gradius game, yeah, great, like Gradius Twin, stuff like that. So there are flight ones, yeah, and they're very much like that. They're the side-scrolling flying, and but the game is incredible. It's incredibly fun. Like you were saying, the artwork is just absolutely phenomenal.
And the audio, like all of the sound, the music, it's so spot on. Like I was already in love with it, like just getting through like the tutorial and stuff like that, which by the way, so it has keyboard support. No, not even.
The game supports the keyboard. Once. The keyboard does not support you.
Not support the game. No. Fortunately, I found my 360 controller.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So I'd gotten through the tutorial, and I run out, and like there's a little shop, and it's run by like this pig with a mustache, and just everything about him is so perfect that I was just, I squeed. I was so happy.
He's a hipster pig.
Yeah, he's so good, and his voice is like that old animation. It was perfect.
Yeah, no. So the art style is definitely, it's not something that would have drawn me in, but since it drew you and you wanted to play it, so we're like, yeah, let's play it for the show. So we picked it up. It wasn't that bad. It was like $20.
Yeah.
It was on Green Man Gaming for 15 up to pre-release, and then this particular month now, they're running a special, so you can pick it up for 18 as opposed to 20. They got 10% off every game. But anyway, yeah, no, but after playing it, the artwork and the animation fit it very well. I think it fits in well with the game. It makes it so it's, I don't know, it almost makes it more difficult. And what I mean by that is going into it, it feels like a kid's game. So you go into it very, I don't know, unsuspecting, and then it just kicks your ass.
Yeah, I mean, because that's exactly it, right? I'm like, it's so cute.
Right.
I'm so
Yeah, because you didn't
excited.
know
This
that
is
it was going to
great.
be like ridiculously difficult, right?
I did not know it was going to be ridiculously difficult. No, I did not know that I was going to spend 45 minutes getting through the first level. But that's fine. It's all fine. Mostly, I had to learn that I could just run past things, and that was okay.
Yeah, it's not like a run and gun game in that style where like you're trying to kill everything.
Yeah, no,
that
just go.
There's
Just
even,
get through.
as I discovered from a GameSpot.com post on Facebook today, the 4 run and gun levels that are in the game, if you get through all 4 of those levels without actually killing anything, you unlock a black and white mode. Now, I told you about that earlier when I discovered it. Did you by chance go and look and see what that looked like?
It looks incredible.
It's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's just a bitch to unlock.
Yeah. I don't foresee that.
I will say that in a world, or in the current world of gaming where we are flooded with DLC, loot boxes, season passes, things like that, it is nice to have, and I mean, you see it with a lot of indie games anyway, but it's nice to have a game that feels fully fleshed out, has a decent amount of content. I do kind of want to put an asterisk there, but and it's all there. Like, for example, the black and white, it's locked behind what is essentially an in-game achievement. It's not like a $2 DLC you have to buy,
right?
Which they easily could have done. And they would have made, I mean, it's already sold over 1 million copies. So if they made that an extra $2, everybody would have bought it. So that's $2 million they would have made right there. But they just made it something that was just unlocked in the game. So that says a lot about the developer.
Right.
The reason I would put an asterisk on a lot of content, it's not a long game. There's only 4 worlds. And as I said, each world has a running gun, which would take you probably like 2 to 5 minutes to complete. And then there are boss fights that if you complete the boss fights efficiently, the boss fights are no more than a couple minutes long. So there isn't actually a lot of content, but the gameplay length is inflated by the fact that it's extremely difficult. And there's a rating system. So it's definitely designed for multiple playthroughs where you want to get, like, you got your C plus and then your B and then like your A minus. And I guess P is the highest rating.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think one of the things that really got me, though, because it is really hard and I failed an awful lot, but I never got frustrated with it. Like, it was really, which is weird. Like, I feel like I should have, but every time that I kind of would get most of the way through and then like crash and burn spectacularly, I'd actually just laugh about it. I was like, shit. All right, let's go again. Let's just go again. And then I was getting to the point where, like, if I screwed up too early, just automatic restart. Like, restart it. Let's just go. We're going to try it again. It's very satisfying when you succeed, too, because of that.
Well, I think that's a big part of it, is that it's not artificially difficult, right? So it's not like when you think difficult in a modern game, because most games these days are a cakewalk unless the difficulty is artificially inflated. to where like they just make it so bosses hit ridiculously hard or have a
Or have a
ridiculous
nonsense amount of hit points.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it just becomes more of a grind, and you're just
Mhm.
it's who lasts longer, right? So in this, like the bosses die at a fairly quick pace,
Right.
and you have like you have you don't have hit points per se. You can be hit 3 or 4 times if you're wearing the proper accessory. But
Yep.
you're just hit 3 times, whether it's the boss that hits you 3 times or whether it's one of the bouncing flowers that hits you 3 times, you die in 3 hits.
Right.
So it's not an artificial inflation of difficulty. It's just it's challenging in its mechanics.
Mhm.
And they've even designed it in such a way where you can't memorize mechanics because they're different every time.
Yeah. I mean, you can get close,
Right.
but it does switch it up.
Right. Like there are tells. Like what comes to mind is the flower boss. Did you get to that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So the flower boss, you have the 3 pedestals, and
Yep.
sometimes he shoots down bottom, sometimes he shoots up top. He's got like we were talking about in the pre-show fidget spinners, what looks like fidget spinners that he shoots at you. And
Yeah.
then he shoots seeds at you, and they all do different, but they come in different order every time.
Right.
And even in the established order, like the first round of things that he does, that second round will be in a different order. So you're never memorizing a moveset. You
Right.
always have to be on your feet. You always have to pay attention. And that, I think, again, gives credit to the developers. It's because that just adds a level of complexity to the design.
Yeah. Another thing I like, those boss fights all have 2 modes. They have regular and they have simple, which is solid for someone like me. Hey, because I mean, like, I'm not the best at these kind of games. I'm really not. But being able to just kind of like, without just like turning down the difficulty to nothing, which is what a lot of those games that give you sort of almost like a story mode version where you can just kind of walk through. It's not like that
Right.
at all.
Right.
It just kind of eases back on some of the extra elements so that you can figure it out.
So did you play through some of the levels on the simple mode?
Yeah.
So did
Yeah,
you?
yeah. So like that flower boss. So it's only the bosses, from what I
Okay,
can tell,
okay.
that have modes. So so like the flower boss, there are none of those fidget spinner things in the
Okay.
simple mode.
Yeah.
Like it's just like whether the flower shoots out above or below, and then there's the bombs, and that's it.
So it's almost kind of like a almost like a WoW raid boss type difficulty slider where it doesn't just make it, because again, you're hit 3 times. There are no hit
Right.
points per se. So, but they just kind of take away abilities.
Right. Exactly.
So that's pretty
Yeah, it
interesting.
gives you one less thing to worry about.
Right. I'm wondering, I haven't looked a lot into like the social media research of the game. I'm wondering, I would assume there has to be a harder difficulty that you unlock by beating the game.
There's got to be.
Yeah, you would think so here.
I went through the first level, and then I found a shortcut and unlocked an achievement for finding a shortcut. And because that's part of it, right? Is like it's like the old school Mario maps where you have to like unlock a level to get to the next part of the map to choose a different level.
Right.
Then there was the mausoleum, and I stopped and talked to the person outside the mausoleum, and they're like, "Yeah, we parry to fight ghosts around here." And I was like, "Cool." And then I got in the mausoleum, and there were ghosts, and I tried to shoot them, and immediately was like lost. And I was like, "Right,
Parry.
that person just told me what to do."
Okay, so
Fine.
funny thing, right? So my first attempt at the game was when we had tried to play it multiplayer via the NVIDIA thing, right? The beta share play or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And I played the tutorial then, but I was just kind of trying to get through it because
Right.
we wanted to try out the multiplayer, right? So I play it again legitimately like a couple nights later, and I'm playing through and I totally forgot about parry. So I'm
Yeah.
like, man. Okay, so the first thing I did was I got to the slot machine boss, which
Yeah.
you cannot beat him if you don't parry the slot machine lever. So I'm like, well,
Yeah.
shit. Okay, so I'm missing something here. And then I went to the mausoleum, and I didn't even talk to the person out front of it, or maybe I did, and I just hit A through it.
Yeah.
But then I went in, and I was shooting the ghosts, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go through the tutorial again.
Yeah, that was exactly what I had to do because they were like, "Yeah, you got to parry," and I was like, "I don't remember what that is. I'm gonna just run back real quick and do that again." Oh, got it.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, I did that one. So because I took the shortcut, I think I saw different stuff. Maybe. I mean, you got because you got all the way through the first island.
You're talking about the shortcut that kind of goes up and under the
Under the
bridge.
bridge?
It
Yeah,
lets
yeah,
you. It lets you skip the flying level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then there was the one where there's all these like little ladybug ball things that are and the woodpeckers. Did you do that one? The woodpecker level. That's a good time.
Yeah, I completed all the levels on the first world.
Yeah. So that I felt really like that one was very satisfying because I'd be like, all right, we're gonna do it perfect this time. The first level, I was like, we're just getting through.
Right.
We don't care. We're just gonna get done.
Right.
And I was like, all right. Until I got to the end boss and plummeted. To
Now
my
the
death.
end boss in that one was one where you had to jump platform to platform, right?
Yeah.
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 No, it's like I said. I mean, the level design's great.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they did a really good job, and even the bosses, I love how they're multiple phased. And what I do like is when you do inevitably die, it tells you how far you got. Like it tells you how many phases are left.
Right.
Which is cool. There and man, the boss is creative.
Oh yeah.
In such a way where, I mean, like I said, there was the slot machine boss where you go in and there's two dudes that you fight, and one of them rolls across the ground, the other one does things, and like you get to phase 2, and like one of them like has like this spinny thing that you have to avoid on the left end of the screen, while the one on the right end of the screen is like holding a giant fan and blowing you towards him.
Yeah.
That was a really fun fight. The casino fight, like the slot machine goes and like it picks random things, and depending on what the slot machine picks is what happens to you.
Right.
And you really have to pay attention to visual cues, because there's these ones where like, so there's these clouds that go and they shoot lightning down below, and there's a really, really small visual cue that tells you which direction the lightning is going to go.
Yep.
So if you're just bouncing from cloud to cloud, not paying attention, you're going to get a lightning bolt up your ass.
Yeah.
Which happened to me multiple times.
So I thought the story was cool because there is story
Right.
to this game.
That's all you.
You are Cuphead, and you and what's the other one's name? Mug something.
Cuphead and
Mugman. So they go into the Devil's Casino and they go on a winning streak, and the devil shows up and raises the stakes. He says if they can win again, they win the entire casino. If not, the devil takes their souls. You know, pretty typical deal with the devil type stuff. And so Cuphead rolls snake eyes, and they have to give up their souls. So the devil again makes a deal and says, listen, if you go collect the contracts on these other people, then I might let you off the hook. So that's what they're doing. Like they're going through all of these things to collect souls for the devil. There's couch co-op right now. There's a shady workaround, sort of, that technically will let you play multiplayer online.
Right, and it works well as long as both people have good internet. And it worked fine for us. The only catch is that you have to use a keyboard if you are, because you aren't. And the beauty of it is, so I mean, we can talk about the NVIDIA SharePlay a little bit anyway. So if you have an NVIDIA card, and I don't know if the other person needs an NVIDIA card, we both have them, so I haven't tried it without. I mean, I think most everyone should have an NVIDIA card anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so you make a link, and it's almost kind of like joining a Hangouts.
Yeah.
Like you make a link, you send someone the link, they click the link, and what it is it opens the web browser.
Yep.
And you play the game within the browser. So the cool thing about this is you don't even technically have to own the game. Right, you're streaming the connection. And again, so as long as both people have moderately decent internet, it's great. Yeah. However, because it's being played through a web browser, you can't use a controller. You have to use the keyboard and mouse, which would be fine on most games. Not this game.
No, I did try. I got most of the way through the tutorial with a keyboard. But it was not awesome. Yeah, so I mean there's a lot of speculation that in the future they will add online multiplayer to this, which would be awesome. Because there's a lot of stuff that would be way easier if you had a friend to help you out. Or way harder if you had a friend to help you out. I can't quite decide.
Right. So to pull away from the game slightly and to look at the social media and the just the media in general around it, have you heard the things about how Cuphead is racist?
I mean, no, I haven't.
So there's a yeah, it's a big thing just because again, the influence of the animation comes from a time when cartoons were incredibly racist.
That's fair.
So yeah, where's the I had this article pulled up and then it went all the way back to you know what? Yeah, it's a Rolling Stone article. But yeah, it talks about the artwork and how it like there was that infamous Disney cartoon that was banned because of how blatantly racist it was.
Yeah.
There was a where was the post? Someone said Cuphead looks great, but it looks way too frustrating for me, and I can't get over the fact that a lot of the 1930s cartoons were racist. So yeah,
But I mean, is there any what are they saying is blatantly racist specifically in Cuphead?
It is a game about a white male cup person who's trying to break out of the deal he made with a blatantly black devil.
I don't know that I'm buying that.
I mean, that might be a little bit of a stretch. But there's one, I like the headline. To play Cuphead is to suck at Cuphead.
That is true. That is legitimate.
But
I'm doing a good job of being terrible.
Yeah,
at it,
so in the chat there,
feel
yeah,
right about it.
Corey and JF were both like, "Song of the South, them crows, yo."
Yeah.
Beatmaster brings up.
I mean, pretty much any animated crow ever, really. I was gonna put a date on it, prior to, but no, just all of them, like Dumbo.
Beatmaster
Just
brings
saying.
up a good point in the chat. The a true coin-op game without coins, just the frustration, and it is. It's definitely. It could very well be an arcade coin-op game. It made me think too of if you go back to like the 90s. Was it Nickelodeon that had that game show where like they tried to beat each other's score and like the arcade games? Like it's definitely a game you could see being played there.
Yeah, it takes me back to those days before we could, save. I mean, even though your progress is saved in this, but it's,
Well, right, yeah, because there's no lives. You can die infinitely.
Right. But there's no checkpoints. You either make it or you don't.
Right. Yeah, fortunately, and that does kind of play into how the levels are. Starcade, yes, Corey, thank you. By the way, if you want to participate in the live chat room during these shows, if you're listening to the podcast version, every other Monday, 9:30 p.m., twitch.tv/AintGeekStudios. Participate in the chat room that you hear us interacting with during the show. But yeah, so no, I mean that does kind of play to how they are pretty short, but no, they're difficult. And yeah, no, the where was I going? Yeah, we were talking about the multiplayer. So yeah, so again, so there's that little thing. So you send the link, you play it. The developers have said that they acknowledge the fact that not having online co-op was a mistake, and it's going to be something. I mean, they've already sold over 1 million copies, so they've got.
The game has already been over 3 years in development,
right?
So I can see needing to get some return on their investment.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that's fine.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that.
And I don't really know too much about the company. This is the only game they've published, and it is also the only game they've developed.
Yeah.
So they are a newer company. What was it again? It was StudioMDHR. But yeah, I mean, for a first attempt into into an indie game. It is definitely, like I said, it's solid. It's
Oh
bug
yeah.
free. It plays great.
Yep. Yeah, I have not had a single gameplay problem, which is not something I can say about a lot of the indie games we've played so far.
Right. So just to give a quick, Studio MDHR is an independent video game company founded by two brothers, Chad and Jared Moldenhauer. Currently, so this was obviously a little bit older, but yeah, so working on first game Cuphead. As I said, it came out September 29th. And it was pretty cool. It came out, I mean, obviously the consoles in modern gen are becoming more accepting and loving of indie titles, but it released
Right.
simultaneously across all three platforms.
Yeah.
I could definitely see this, and I think I might have mentioned this. I could definitely see this as something on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And the Switch just got Stardew Valley, which plays
Yeah.
incredibly on the Switch. And I would love to see this on the Switch. This
Yeah.
I think would be a great Switch game.
Yeah, that would be pretty solid.
And that's the beauty too, is it's a game. If you have a child who is a skilled gamer, but whereas a lot of complex games these days definitely gear more towards adult oriented.
Yeah, they also add adult themes.
Yeah, the games that are typically difficult are geared to an M rating.
Right.
This is a game that a kid can play. I mean, you're shooting things with it's like a pea shooter basically.
It's finger guns.
Finger guns, yeah. So it's cowboys and Indians. Finger guns. And it's incredibly difficult. So it's definitely a game that if you have a skilled gamer child but you still want to keep them away from overly violent games, it is a game that kids can play, which is cool.
I feel like this is a game that I would play with a small child sitting next to me holding a controller that is not plugged into anything. But they don't
Based off how well kids play video games these days,
They'd
it might
probably be
be a
way better than
game
me.
where their controller is plugged in and yours isn't.
This is very likely. No child wants to play on my team.
I'm sorry, JF. Cowboys and Native Americans.
Cowboys and displaced indigenous peoples.
Anyway. But yeah, no, I'm going to continue to play this. It is a huge month, huge, like 8 weeks for game releases. And so there's going to be a lot being played, but Cuphead I'm definitely going to try and get through it.
Yeah.
Whether I
hold
get
little hope of actually getting through it, but I'm going to keep trying.
It's definitely one of those games where like you can pick up and play it. It's a time killer because it's not involved. Again, the levels are short. So if you have time to invest, sit there and play it. But if you only have like 10, 15, 20 minutes to sit down, it's definitely somewhere you can try and blow through a couple levels.
Yeah.
So it's no, like I said, I think having it on consoles is cool, and I do hope it sees the Switch. The Switch is getting really good with games too. Like they're definitely more open to third-party titles than the Wii U was.
Right.
So I'm hoping that it gets there, but no, it's great, and I hope to see more development with it. There's no DLC announced. Like we talked about, there's no. I mean, there's like a deluxe edition, but it just comes with the soundtrack.
Right.
But there's
Which is amazing.
It is,
Not
but
gonna
there's
lie.
also no point in buying the deluxe edition because it's $10 more, and the soundtrack is $10.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a
You don't
reason.
save anything.
Yeah. I will say that definitely pick up the soundtrack though, because the soundtrack is one of the best parts of the game.
Yeah.
I would like, again, I want to see if it's a flash in the pan, just because again, the content length is purely the difficulty level. If you remove the difficulty, it's not a long game.
Right.
So I'm wondering how long it'll hold its place being as popular as it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they come out with the online multiplayer, I think that's going to, like, I think a lot of people that have already played through it will go back and play again. I mean, that was a big thing with Portal 2 was, like, as I played through Portal 2, and then I had to find people to play with me for the co-op levels.
Right.
I could see that being a DLC thing too. Once they add online multiplayer, of adding specifically co-op levels.
Right. That could be one of the reasons why it was held back.
Right. Right. But I think that'd be cool.
Annalisa wants to know what kind of music.
It is like 1930s cartoon soundtrack. Like it is that like background music of old Tom and Jerry or like Steamboat Willie. Like it is old timey is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. So good.
JF, thank you for the Twitter retweet. Yeah, no, it's the atmosphere in the game is great. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, to kind of go along with what you said with how it's difficult, but it's not frustrating to the point where like
Yes.
you want to keep going back. The fun and entertainment provided by the artwork and the animation and the atmosphere provided by the music, I think is a big part of that.
Right.
It almost makes you too happy to be angry.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Like all the colors are perfect because they're
Right.
like they're bright and happy, but they're in those muted 1930s
Right.
tones. And the music's so happy. And all like the sounds that things make is happy. Like
Everything is a kid's cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's so I mean, because I mean, obviously when you think of difficult games these days, like the one that comes to everybody's mind is Dark Souls.
Right.
But the thing about Dark Souls is it's dark. And it's angry and it's hateful.
Yeah,
and
correct. And it's out to get you. Like
it is. This game isn't out to get you. It just happens to be difficult.
right. There just happens to be a lot of shit going on. It's fine.
Some of the fights get nuts. I got to
Yeah.
one, it was one of the first boss fights in World 2 where you're fighting a genie.
Mm-hmm.
And then the genie turns into something else. And then you have to go through like a tunnel and there's spinning cylinders in the tunnel.
Yep.
And you have to find out which one you have to shoot out and then shoot it out. But while that's going on between the pillars, there are saw blades going all around. So you have to navigate the saw blades while shooting
Yeah.
out a part of the pillar. And if
Yeah.
you go to the very front or the very back of the available screen, you get a saw blade dropped on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Good.
once you get out of that, there's still 2 more phases of the fight to go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's the whole thing, right? So it's like, all right, you get to a part and you have to figure out what you have to do. And you will inevitably die while you are trying to figure this out. So you're like, all right, well, what I got to do is I got to go in there and I got to shoot this thing. And when you get back there, it is slightly different. Like your overall goal is the same, but something has changed.
I
and you have to
think
adapt.
I think the secret to this, other than, or I should say, along with, again, the art and the music, when you die, you don't feel like you lost anything.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Like, again, I mentioned Dark Souls. Like, there's a lot of shit on the line when you die. All of your experience points, things like that. With this, you just go back a minute and a half.
Start again.
Yeah, and there's no, like, there's no penalty other than having to do it over.
Right.
So, again, there's no... They've added the difficulty, and I use the word inflate a lot, but without the inflated frustration and difficulty of like, okay, we're going to have all these other stipulations that not only make it hard, but make it frustrating as fuck.
Right. Right. You're just like, oh, you died. Try again.
Right.
Oh, you died. Try again. Oh, you died. Try again.
So,
Or like when you get hit, right? Like when you still have hit points left to spare. Like when you get hit or when you fall off something, like you get your little flashy invulnerability for a couple of seconds and you just keep going. Like,
right.
just keep going. Whatever you do, don't stop.
So okay, so as you said, you were waiting for it for a while. When we were talking about that at first, even Corey said in the chat that it had been in development hell for so long that he thought it was going to be vaporware. Like we didn't think we'd see it.
Yep.
Now that you've played it, are you happy that it is where it's at?
Yeah.
Are you?
I'm really happy. Like, I'm really, like, especially in this day and age of, I've got something, so I'm going to put it in early access so that I can get the money to finish it. Like, I'm happy that this is just, like, I'm happy that rather than do that 2 years ago, which granted it wasn't quite as much of a thing then, but to have them put in the time and even to have them say, put online multiplayer on hold in order to put it out. Like, they put out a polished product instead of more product that's maybe less well done.
Right.
And that's awesome.
It was an old school game developed in an old school way.
Yeah. Yeah. It was ready when it was ready. And it's ready and it's awesome.
It is. Yeah, going
Very
into
happy.
it with, like I said, the first time I had even heard about it was when you said, hey, hey, we should do it for the show.
We're going to do this.
Right.
I'm going to play it anyway, so can we just do it for the show?
Right. I went in thinking that it looked cool, and then, again, the soundtrack is great, and I love it. It's
Good.
challenging, and again, like we've talked about a couple times, not challenging in that way that makes you want to break a controller.
Yeah. I was not entirely sure if this was going to be your jam or not.
I mean, I'm a fan of the old school.
Happy that you enjoyed it.
And, going back, and I like it because it's very reminiscent of that, and going back to like the classic NES days,
Right.
of like Solomon's Key and Mylon's Secret Castle and all those things where it's like, yeah, this is fucking hard.
Yep.
This, if anything, this went a little above that just because there was a tutorial that at least taught you how to play.
A little bit.
What would have been great if there was no tutorial, but it came with like a PDF of an instruction booklet.
The DRM of like, what's the fourth word in the second paragraph on page 72? Yeah. That was always the best. That was my favorite.
JF says, when the game is fun and the penalty is playing the fun game a bit more, that's less frustrating. And
Yeah,
I completely
exactly.
agree. And Corey says, getting the full game is the best move possible.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And it's the full game for $20. And they definitely nailed it because it's been out for
And that's the
a
other
couple
thing.
weeks.
It's definitely like, so yeah, it may not, like you were saying, it may not have the most content, but $20 of content, certainly. Like even without, like even given that it's got this, time stretch because of the difficulty.
Right.
Like even if you're playing through fairly quickly, it's still $20.
Yeah, and that's still content. I mean, I was just kind of, almost playing a little bit of devil's advocate there, but
Right.
like, because I'm very much of the mindset where like, if a game gives you goal A and part of goal A is that you have to grind for 10 hours to get to goal A, I mean, that's still gameplay. It's still content.
Yeah.
It could be a little inflated. It might not be, but it's there and it's fun. It's everyone in modern games with certain games complains about a grind.
Yeah.
And to me, if the grind is fun gameplay, it's not a grind.
Right.
Like a grind is when you're boringly doing the same thing over and over again. If it's fun and entertaining, it's not a grind. And if you have to play this over and over again to master those levels, it's fun as shit.
Well, and that's
so
the other thing. You're not playing a level over and over again just to like earn more XP so that you can get better weapons or something. Like you're playing it over and over again because you haven't figured it out yet.
Right.
And like that's cool.
No, it definitely is. And it adds to the game. And it doesn't insult the player. It doesn't insult the buyer because you get what you paid for.
Yep.
It's a game by gamers for gamers, and that it has everything that you could want for $20.
Yeah, absolutely.
These days when you spend $15 to buy a playable character for a game, $20 for a fully fleshed out game is not a bad deal at all.
Not a bad deal.
But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and again, I'm going to continue to play it. But yeah. Any type of rating recommendation you want to give for it?
I mean, I got to tell you, I'm rating it pretty high.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I kind of want to give it an 8. Maybe like an 8.5. It was really good.
I think I'm right there with you. When it comes to, again, if you like looking at the bigger picture, right? They didn't do early access like you had said. They released a full game. It's bug free.
Yep.
Other than not having the online co-op, which I don't think you can kind of necessarily break that down. And they've already acknowledged that. They've acknowledged it. They said, look, it's coming. So they know that it should be there in 2017. Yeah, I agree with you. Somewhere between 8 and 9. It's there. It's got
awesome.
It's got the replay. It's got the stability. It's easy to stream. I bring that up simply because, like, I remember, like with Guacamelee, when we did that in episode 2, that was a pain to stream. It was very poorly optimized.
Right.
So everything about the game runs well, and for a 2-man development team, that's a lot to be said. So I would say pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's $20. You can get it Steam or Xbox or PlayStation. And if you do get it on PC, greenmangaming.com, right? I should talk to them for a sponsorship. Greenman Gaming. I love Green Man. The only thing that you lose from Green Man is you can't do the Steam refund. But other than that, like you're always getting sales. But yeah, you can get it for, it's only $2 off this particular time around. But yeah, I would say go buy it and play it and have fun, but definitely have a controller.
Yes. Yes, 100% have a controller. Do not attempt to keyboard this. It's not okay.
Now, I will say really quick, did you have anything else to say? Or
No,
are we,
no,
okay,
no.
cool. We did try and do a little bit of a contest for this game, and
Yeah.
it kind of fell a little short. So I'm going to mention it here. If you follow us on Twitter, the Twitter and the Twitch, I'm always messing them up. If you follow us on Twitter at IndieCaseFiles, it is easy. It's the easiest Twitter handle we have because it's literally the name of the show. Then we are going to start doing different things like that where, we'll say, hey, follow or retweet or things like that. And if we reach a certain number, we'll give a game away on the live show. So tonight we asked for 50 and 50 and we didn't get it. So wow. No free game tonight. But Cuphead's amazing, and we want people to play it, and we want people to like it. So, if we can get that up to like 75 by next episode, then I'll give away a copy. I'll still give away a copy of Cuphead on our October 30th episode.
Perfect.
So follow us on Twitter at IndieCaseFiles and retweet and share and show us the love. And so for October 30th, our day before Halloween episode, 2 weeks from tonight, we are going to do, I don't want to say horror games, but we're going to do some Halloween themed games.
Yeah.
And you are going to play what?
Well, so I actually think I have two contenders that I can't choose between.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to let our Facebook page determine that.
Facebook page. We're just going to divide social media up everywhere.
Yeah, why not? It's fine. We'll put the link on our Twitter too. It all links back together. Everything just copies everything else. It's fine.
Right. Why not?
Yeah, and also I have access to the Facebook and not the Twitter. So my two options are Little Nightmares and Never Ending Nightmare. I know, lots of nightmares. They're both like, because I don't do scary. Never Ending Nightmares seems significantly freakier than the other one. And whatever scary game I'm really gonna try and stream it so y'all can watch me be terrified. Try to be a good time. So yeah, I'll have that up momentarily.
Cool.
And by like Wednesday we'll decide.
Well,
I'll play.
That sounds good. I'm still up in the air, so I will pick mine because I'm going to go with a scary game.
Yeah.
This will be the first time This will be the first time we play two separate games.
Yep.
So we'll approach a fun, friendly Halloween route and a scary Halloween route. So we'll go from there. But I'll announce it. We'll play it and we'll go from there. So Monday, October 30th, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, twitch.tv/InkGeekStudios if you want to watch it live. If you can't make it, then, check out the podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of fun. But I think that'll do it for tonight's episode. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
We
yeah.
good? Yes.
Yeah.
So again, one last time, that Twitter handle is IndieCaseFiles on Twitter, IndieCaseFiles on Facebook. And if you like this show and everything else at Inked Geek Studios, go to patreon.com/IG Studios. We are very close to our $50 a month goal to unlock the monthly patron exclusive Google Hangouts, where you can hang out with myself, Amy, and Brandon, the IG Studios hosts. And you can hang out with us on Discord and have a live chat and ask us whatever you want. And it'll be recorded, so you'll get your voice out there. As Annalisa says, give them $1. So yeah, give us $1, you'll make us holler. We're cheap entertainment. Think about that, though. It's $1 a month. You have... That gives you 4 episodes of Mind of a Geek, 4 episodes of All Geeked Up, 2 episodes of Indie Case Files. And then depending on how many pay-per-views WWE wants to have, it's 2 or 3 episodes of Movie Busters and 2 episodes of That Was Awesome. So for a quarter of a week, that's a lot of content.
It is.
So yeah, $1 a month, patreon.com/IG Studios. A big thank you and shout out to everyone that supports us in that way. already. And obviously, if you can't, I mean, sometimes times are tough and not everyone can. Tell your friends, retweet our stuff, follow us on the social medias, and let everybody know because, we're just doing what we love to do, and we want you to love it too.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm trying something new.
Yeah.
And I'm tired. It's been such a long week.
Yeah. It's Monday. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, but that's hump day for me.
Yeah.
I got 2 more days, then my weekend.
Mm.
So, yeah, let's see here. Friday, check out All Geeked Up with myself and Mr. Brandon. We will be talking about the new WWE 2K18. We will be talking about South Park Fractured But Whole. We've got the PC release of Destiny 2 coming a week from tomorrow. I'll probably have some more Cuphead to talk about. And our guest on Mind of a Geek this Friday is Miss Abby Wessels, host of Diary of a Trans Woman and former IG Studios host. So we're excited to kind of have her back and see where things are progressing to and what's going on in her world. And then this Sunday on That Was Awesome, we have our live watching as well as our review of the TLC pay-per-view. And that'll go live Sunday night, probably around like 10:30. We'll see if the pay-per-view goes long again or not. It all kind of depends. But I think that'll do it for tonight. So a big thank you to our live Twitch audience. As always, you guys are awesome. If you want to watch any of our shows live, they're all live on Twitch at twitch.tv/AintGeekStudios. Follow me on Twitch, where I will live stream the games we play on this show, as well as any other game at twitch.tv/xcynicx. You can follow Amy at twitch.tv/Denoria. Denoria. I switch up your vowels. Danny Aura. It's Danny the aura of Danny. The Danny aura.
Daniora.
And I know you've been planning to kind of pick up the streaming schedule a little bit. So
yeah, just gotta get that new processor.
Slow process. No pun intended. It works. So anyway, that'll do it for this week's episode. Thank you again to everybody, for Amy, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios. Thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you guys next week. You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.